back. New year. That's okay. You don't need a map. You need your notes, a pencil, a highlighter, and a calculator. All right, welcome. Once you guys go ahead and welcome back. Happy to see you. Let's go ahead and get our notes out. We've got a warm-up to do. While I'm doing that, I really appreciate you coming in on time. You're prepared, you're following instructions, so go ahead and get your planner out because I'm going to go around and give you stamps. Just a public service announcement. If your homeroom teachers forgot to tell you or it's kind of new, Friday we're going to do another dress down day. So if you want to wear a hat or dress down on Friday, you can pay your homeroom teacher 10 bucks or 10 stamps. That's this Friday. The following Friday we're going to do the snack cart again. Snack cart. So make sure that you are earning these stamps and that you're coming to class on time, you're getting there on time, and you are showing all those good work behaviors, okay? All right, there's 2 warm-ups on the board. Yes, ma'am?
In the dress down day, can we wear slides?
No, it still has to follow school rules. Wear a different t-shirt, wear something cute. If you want to wear a baseball hat, go ahead and do that. But you can pay your homeroom teachers today, tomorrow, and Thursday 10 bucks if you're interested in doing that. If not, no big deal. Like I said, we're going to do snack cart the following Friday. So as I see you getting your stuff out, you guys can go ahead and start with your warm-up. There's only 2 on the board this morning, but it's a good way to get things rolling. That's okay. Do you have a notebook? Okay, that's what I need. Awesome. Okay, do you have your notes out ready to go? Okay, that's what you need. Right now, you can put your Chromebook off to the side. We're not going to need it until the end of class. You can practice. If you've got it logged on, don't worry about it. Just know that you're not going to need it right away. You understand? Thanks for having your stuff out ready to go. Good. Welcome. Hi. Thanks for having your stuff out. That's awesome. Good.
Miss, are we farming eggs?
Yes, please. Do you remember how to do that? See what you can come up with. Maybe check with your neighbor. Do you guys have your stamps? Good. Thanks for having it ready. Nice job. Good. Perfect. You have everything you need? Yeah, that's good. Take a few minutes. This is starting a new chapter, but these 2 set equations are things that you learned in 7th grade. Remember how we always drew a river and we had to solve for that x, we had to get that variable alone? See what you can come up with. It's not a test. If you make a mistake, it's no big deal. It's a warm-up because it's just getting our brains ready. I know it's been a long break, but you guys, you can do this. That looks good. Well done. Good. Good. You all set? Looks good. few more seconds and review this, and this will go right into our, new stuff that we're going to be doing today. That looks good.
Let's go ahead and get rid of this 7 and this side. Should we do that on the opposite? This is minus. You got that. If you do to this side, you gotta do to this side. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hold on one second. All right, if you, and I know some of you are finishing up, if you are done, anybody want to go and put one on the board for me for number 1? Show me what you did. I'm going to start with Jamesley. Will you go up there and put it on? If you, let's see what he came up with. Go ahead. And if you're not done, let's keep working. It's not a big deal. That's what we're warming up. You can't make mistakes in a warm up. So if you did it to this, so let's make sure we have our river right where it's supposed to be. Goes right through there. Okay, and so it looks like you added that over here. That's good. If you do it to this side of the equation, what do you have to do over here? Same thing. So go ahead and add 7 over on this side. Looks like we need a little bit more space. What if we did this? Here's your river. Now I got you started. We want to get rid of that negative 7. What can we do? Good. If you do it to this side, what do you have to do over here? Perfect. Okay, Jamesley. Wow, you were fast. Good. If you're still working, that's okay. But I think for the most part, we have number 1 done. We're going to go through this one, and maybe that'll jog your memory and get you started thinking about the next one. So if you forgot, is it a big deal? No. Okay. Let's take a look. He said 3x minus 7 is equal to 14. The first thing he did, Jamesley, tell me. What'd you do first? You drew a line. Good. So he drew that river. He knows he's got to split his equation in half. That helps him stay organized, right? Good. What's the next thing you did? Added what? Good. Let's talk about it. He knew, Jamesley knew that, look, I've got to get rid of this negative 7 or this minus 7. In order to do that, he had to do the opposite. So he added 7. Jamesley, if you add 7 to this side, what did you do over here? Why? What are you trying to do to your equation? Make it what? It's okay. Do you remember? Does anybody remember? If you do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. Why? Because you got to keep them what? Equal or balanced. Good job. Very good. So he did that. So when he got rid of this, the negative 7 and the positive 7, he's done with that, and he brought down his 3x. Well done. 14 plus a positive 7 gives you 21. The last step is to do what? Jamesley, what'd you do? And he divided. He divided both sides by 3 to get x alone, and x is equal to 7. Good. If you didn't get that answer, go back and find your mistake and fix it. It's no big deal. If now we remember, somebody going, oh yeah, now I remember how to do that, let's try the second one, number 2. Willow, you want to try it? Come on up. If you haven't done it, try it now while she's putting it on the board. Good, you're almost there. So now do what? You did? Good. chalkboard went. It's good now, the green light's on. It's okay. It's okay. Good, well done. You circled your answer. Awesome. Okay, so Willow knew again, this time, she didn't draw the river to divide her equation. Does it matter? No, that's something that works for you. Some of you need to have that organized and to separated, and that's okay. Some of you don't, and that's okay. The second thing she did is she said, all right, I know I've got to get rid of that positive 6. She did that by subtracting 6 to both sides. Well done. When she did that, she brought down her 4x. Good. 22 minus 6 is 16. Last step, easy. Divided both sides by 4, and x gave you 4. Okay? If you didn't have that, go ahead and finish copying it down. If you got it right, that's awesome. You can give yourself a high five. Come on. Welcome. Good. Welcome back. Wake up. Anybody need more time copying these down? Okay. This brings us to what we are doing today. And we're going to take this and these equations another step farther. Because when you're in pre-algebra and when you're in 8th grade, you've got to take this 7th grade concept and move it up a step. So what we're going to do today is practice having our variable on both sides of the equation. It's something new, but I think that you'll be really successful getting there. Here's what I've done for you. You have a copy of the Cornell notes. I'm going to go ahead and pass them out. If you didn't grab a highlighter and you want to use one, go ahead and help yourself up here, because sometimes it's good to highlight keywords and stuff like that. If you have a highlighter, go ahead and get it out, because I think that'll help us use it today. This is going to go in your notebooks when you're done, so don't put your math notebook away, but know that the work that we're going to do is going to be right on the Cornell notes, okay? Can I have somebody help me pass these out, please?
I'll do it.
Awesome. Thank you, girls. All right, so go ahead and make sure you have a highlighter. Make sure you've got your notes, and we'll go from there. Do you need a highlighter? Anybody else need a highlighter? Because Michael's going to come around and pass them out. Anybody need one? Okay. Everybody have a highlighter, you good? Going once, going twice? All right, thanks. Perfect. Okay, so here's what we're doing today. Beginning of a new chapter. What are we learning? What are we going to do? Well, that question that we're going to find out today is, how can we solve equations with variables on both sides? Just a quick vocab review. If we talk about a variable, what's another letter or word that we use for a variable? What's another word? A variable or a what? Think about in your first warm-up. What were we solving for variables? What was that? It was a one-step equation, but what's another word for our variable? Because sometimes you're going to hear variable, and sometimes I'm going to say something else. What's this?
Would we have to rewrite the bottom part?
If you need to, but we'll do that in a second. Okay. What's another word for a variable, guys? Like x. So what's x? It's a what? It's a variable. It's just a letter. Sometimes there's going to be variables or letters on both sides of your equation. Eventually we're going to get into word problems, but I want to start you getting used to solving the equation first, and then move on to the word problems. And word problems are going to come tomorrow. Once you get the steps down for solving it, the words are going to be easy to fill in, okay? So if you follow along with your notes and you need to highlight or go over stuff, that's okay. This will be a good time for you to either rewrite it if you can't see it very well, or highlight keywords. Some of those first things, it says, why am I learning this? Well, because if you've got equations on both sides of the variable, you can compare costs of things in real world examples. So sometimes it's really hard to link these to real life, but in this situation, as you get older and you have to make these decisions, you definitely can say, oh, I know how to compare these costs, and that's going to help you out. This next thing are some of the steps that you're going to use. And I like giving you steps so you know that you can follow it, the same thing over and over again. There's no surprises to what we're doing, girls. It's just following the steps and just plugging in those things. So the first step, and there's an example to follow along with it. Do you see it? Do you see the example? Just to make sure, maybe you want to highlight that example. Step number 1 is to do what? Anybody want to read it for me, please? Go ahead, Monroe.
Use addition or subtraction to get all the variables on one side of the equation.
Okay, so use addition or subtraction to get all the variables on one side of the equation. Look at your example. What variable or term did I use, did I move on both sides? What did I move on both sides? Say it out loud. 28x, right. I moved 28x on both sides. I subtracted it. So when I could do that, I could move it over. Then, what am I left with? What's my new equation? What's my new equation? When I subtracted 28x from both sides, what did I do next? What's my new equation? Can you read it for me? Yeah, 20 plus 2x is equal to 36. Isn't that stuff that you've already done before? You've already learned how to split the equation in half, dividing it using that river. You know to do the opposite, and all we're doing is moving that 28 from one side over to the other. Step number 2 and step number 3. Step number 2, use addition and subtraction to combine all constant terms or all like terms. You're going to see those, and as you get into higher math, that's something that you might have to do. Number 3, use multiplication or division to solve for the variable. You've done that before. That's not anything new. So all we're doing is adding on a little bit to what you already know. Let's do another example, and let's do some together. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and skip the first one and go down to the next one. Do you see where it says 18 plus 2n equals 4n minus 9? It's on your paper. Do you see that? Okay, this is the one that we're going to do together. I'm going to model it for you again. You're going to write it down as I'm doing it. All right, according to the directions, what's the first thing I need to do? According to your steps, what would I do first? Good job. So you both pretty much said the same thing, right? She said move the variable over to one side, and you read it, and that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my river because I need to keep it organized. If you don't, that's okay. Generally, I usually go with my smallest variable. That's what I'm going to move. But does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. So here's what you're going to do. Follow along and watch. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move this 2n over here. How am I going to do that? This is a positive 2n. How am I going to move it? Good job. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2n. And what has Miss Smith said to you for many, many years now? If you do it to one side, you gotta do it to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 2n from both sides of my equation. If you haven't done that already, go ahead and copy it down. What am I left with to the left of the equation? Easy, right? 18. This is stuff that you've done before. Equals, what's 4n minus 2n? 2n minus 9. Take a minute and stop right there. Once you have that done, doesn't that kind of look like our warm-up from this morning? Something similar? I know not the exact numbers, but isn't the idea the same thing? So now you're already at a spot where you've been before. You've already done the rest of this. It's kind of like being home free, like running home. You already know how to do this part. This isn't anything new. The only thing that's tricky is making sure that you're moving your variable over to one side of the equation or the other. Now, here are some things that you need to keep in mind. Let's talk about integers. Because you might have a negative number, You might have some negatives that you might have to add or subtract. Be careful with your integers. You've had them for many years, but that's something that is making, this is what makes pre-algebra a little bit more difficult than 7th grade. You've got to make sure that you are considering that and taking those into account. Okay, so now I'm at 18 equals 2n minus 9. What do I have to do next? You got to raise your hand and talk louder. I can't hear you. Add 9, very good. Nice job, Kalita. Add 9. So if you do it to this side, Kalita, what am I going to do? I'm going to add it, very good, to both sides. I ran out of room. I'm going to write over under it, sorry. 18 plus 9, good job, 27. Carry that, equals 2n. Okay? Last step, asterisk. Last step, what am I going to do? It's okay. What am I going to do for my last step? I've got to get n alone, so what am I going to do?
I don't know.
You want to pass it to somebody else?
Yeah.
All right, Jasmine.
Divide.
Divide what to her?
Oh, 2.
Okay, now, 20, right, 27 does not, or 2 does not go into 27 evenly, so it's n is equal to 13.5. How is it? Kind of good? Kind of bad? Yes? Thumbs up? Okay, we're going to practice a few more together before I cut you loose to do some of these on your own. Okay? Let's go ahead. If you flip your paper over on your notes, I'm going to erase this one. I think the next one we have listed is this 2x plus 4, right? Now, let's talk about this quickly. 2, and then in parentheses, x plus 4. What was that property that you could use that could pass out 2 between the x and the 4? It began with a D. Do you remember? Go ahead. You're on the right track, but if you talk like this, I can't understand you. That's okay. What'd you start with? Okay, good. So it begins with this. Good. At least you're on the right track. You're thinking of it. What'd you come up with? It's distributive. Good. Or essentially, you're distributing that 2 between the x and the 4. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 2x, and then go ahead and go 2 times 4. 2 times x is what, Daniela? It's not tricky. You can do this. 2 times x just gives you 2x. Good. I know it's hard the first day back. You're doing great. 2x. I'm going to bring down my addition sign. 2 times 4. Devon? 2 times 4, darling.
2 times 4 is 5.
Is, what's 2 times 4? Try it again.
Wait. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. 8. I know. It's been a long break. It's A-okay. So I've distributed that, and now I've written this. I'm going to go ahead and bring down my negative 5x plus 1. Okay? Now I'm back to where I've got to move my variable over to one side or the other. What variable do you want to move? Do you want to move the 2x or the negative 5? Does it matter? No. Nikai, which one do you want to move? Just pick one. 2x or negative 5? Which one do you want to move?
I don't want to do it at all.
Okay, so you want to follow along some more? That'd be awesome. Good. Let's go ahead. What do you want to move? You want to move the negative 5? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my river. Addie said, I'm going to get rid of that negative 5x. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? What would you do if it's a negative 5x? Let's talk about it. Go back and look at your notes. It says to either add or subtract. So in this case, what would you do? Good. She said to add. I'm going to go ahead and add 5x to both sides. Now, when we do that, is it easy to add 2x plus 5x? 2 plus 5?
Oh, sorry.
7x. You know, I know, it's been a long break. It's A-okay. Negative 5 plus 5x, what happens? They cancel out, so what can I bring it down on this side? Good. Devin, get ready. I'm going to call on you next, okay? So now I have 7x plus 8 equals a positive 1. What's my next step? That's okay. So we want to get x alone, and we said way back during the warm-up this morning that now that we're at this two-step equation, we're going to add or subtract. What would you add or subtract to get closer to getting x alone, or that variable by itself? If you're wrong, I promise it's not a big deal. We'll just fix it and keep moving. Do you want a multiple choice? Okay, would you subtract 1, or would you subtract 8 from both sides? Good, okay, awesome. See? Not a big deal. Subtract 8 from both sides. I can bring down my 7x. Uh-oh. Now I have a positive and a negative number that I need to deal with. So not only are you doing some algebra, guys, you got to bring back all of those integer rules. A positive 1 plus a negative 8 gives you a what? Can you remember? Positive 1, negative 8, raise your hand. What do you think? Ricardo, what do you think? Well done, negative 7. Nice job, man. Good. All right, I'm going to get x alone. If I have to get x alone, what am I going to divide both sides by? 7. Now, again, hello. I'm dividing a negative integer and a positive integer. You got to go back and remember your rules for that. Is your answer going to be negative or positive? If the signs are different and you're dividing, is your answer going to be positive or negative? Negative, good. And 7 divided by 7? Negative 1, okay. All right, we're going to try the one more on your paper, and I think that's number 4 on this one. So let me move this. Make sure that you're following along and that you know what's going on, because I want to give you a chance to ask any questions if you need to before we start doing things on our own. Okay, again, where can you look if you're not sure what to do? Yeah, look at the front. Those are the directions. They tell you step by step what to happen. So if you're stuck, no big deal, but you can go back and look anytime, okay? What's that? Oh, it is? See, I was looking at that one. Oh, it is this one. Oh, sorry. Yep. Sorry. I was looking at the other one. Okay. So 3.8n minus 13 equals 1.4n plus 5. Should decimals intimidate you at all? No. It's the same process, except this time instead of using whole numbers, they're using decimals. Not a big deal. You've got calculators, so if you're feeling a little insecure with it, you've just come back after a long break, you're kind of a little rusty, not a problem. Go ahead and use your calculator. Anybody want to try what we're going to do? This is your guided practice time, and in a few minutes you're going to be cut loose in order to work on some things on the computer yourself. So I want to make sure that you're feeling pretty comfortable with this. First thing I'm going to do is draw my line and divide. What's my next step? What am I going to try to do? You gotta talk loud, I didn't hear you, sweetheart. Okay, so I'm gonna move my variable. Which one do you wanna move? You want to move 3.8 or 1.4? Okay, are you gonna add or subtract that, Jamesley? This is already a positive number. I'm gonna go ahead and subtract it. So 3.8n, if I do it to this side, I've got to do it to the other side. Okay, what can I bring down? Daniela, what can I bring down? If I've subtracted 3.8n, what can I bring down on this side? I can't hear you, sweetheart.
Wait, I can't repeat.
It's on your paper too?
Okay, can you tell me a question again?
What would I bring down? Now that I've subtracted, what am I going to bring down on this side of the equation? The negative 13. Well done. Okay. 1.4 minus 3.8. And did you use your calculator? Am I mad? No. Do I want you to? Yeah, if you're feeling a little insecure and it's been a long break and you forgot, no big deal. Use your calculator. That's why I let you. Jasmine, tell me that again. Negative
2.4.
Good. And I'm going to bring down my positive 5. Whoops, I forgot my n. There. Okay. Now I have my variable on the right side of the equation. Is that a big deal? No, it's not going to affect the next step. What am I going to do next? Say it again louder so everybody can hear you. It's okay, you were right.
Subtract 5.
She said, we're going to go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides. Minus 5, and I'm going to do minus 5 over here. Again, I've got some integer rules that I got to work out and make sure that I remember. Because this is where it's really easy to make a mistake if you're going fast. Let me show you something. I'm going to go off to the side and say minus 13, or negative 13 minus 5. What were those 3 rules Miss Smith told you about to make it easy to subtract? Kalita. Keep, change, change. Keep my first number, change that negative or a minus sign to a positive, and then I'm going to make 5 its opposite. Now I'm ready to go ahead and add those 2 integers. What's my final answer? When you add negative 13 and a negative 5. Negative 18. Is that what you got to? Well done. So I've got negative 18 equals negative 2.4n. Ricardo, ready for the final step? What would you do next? I'm going to divide. Well done. And what are you going to divide by? Oh, good. By negative 2.4. Now be careful. Again, here's some more integer rules. When you divide 2 negative numbers, what is your answer going to be? It's going to be a positive. Good. So I know that you're thinking about these things, and it's a lot to consider. It's going to be a positive. Negative 18 divided by 2.4. You should have your calculators open if you didn't do it longhand, and make sure that you've got that. That's how you practice and get better. Do you have it? Could you do it for me? 18 divided by 2.4? Thanks. Perfect. So now my n is 7.5. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Let me show you. We're going to skip ahead because I think you're doing pretty good with this. And I'm going to give you your next assignment. We're going to save these for tomorrow for a warm-up when we attach the word problems to go with it as well. Put your stuff down and listen quickly for a minute. Just put everything down for a quick second. I want you to go ahead and when I tell you, open up your Chromebooks. Remember your login is your first initial, last name. I put my example up there. That's not your login. That's just an example. At keystudents.com. No, yeah, it's .net. It is .net. I gotta switch it. If your Chromebook, for whatever reason, isn't working, just go ahead and politely get another one. Then your password is your lunch number. It's 44 lunch number 0. When you get to all of that, I can show you how to go to 10 marks. Most of you remember, if you go to the Key Schools website and then go under students and log in, I think many of you remember how to do that. Or you can just go ahead and put in 10marks.com. I've created some new problems for you to do, for you to practice, so to see what you need help with, okay? In a few minutes, when you start to clean up, I've got over here, when you put your computer or your calculators away and you're ready to go out, there's some markers over here. Go ahead and let me know. Do you feel pretty good about this? Do you feel pretty good but you need to practice? Or do you just need a lot of help? And if you do, that's okay, but then that tells me what you need. Don't put your initials. You can put your lunch number, and I can look it up and see who's got it, who needs more practice, and who needs help. If you are confused, there's one of me and 22 of you. What could you do if you were stuck? You could raise your hand while you're waiting, because I might be working with somebody else. What else could you be doing? You could ask the person sitting next to you, absolutely. What else could you do? Could you look at your notes? Yeah. So, ready? Couple things to do before you get frustrated and just give up. While you're waiting for me, ask a friend. Maybe they can explain it to you. Double check your notes. Make sure you're following the right steps. And then you will wait, and I will circulate around as much as I can. Okay? Go ahead and get your Chromebooks. Get started. If you need help, raise your hand. Let me see the work that you've gotten done first. If you're waiting and you want to put your name up there, or not your name, your lunch number, under what you know or what you need help with, you can do that too while you're waiting. Okay? You've got a couple different assignments to do before the end of class. You guys have done a really good job. I appreciate you listening. I know it's hard that first day back from winter break, but you've done a good job. Okay? We're going to finish more with this tomorrow. The login for 10 marks was your first initial, last name, and it was your lunch number as your password at 44, yes, lunch number 0. Okay. So I was going to have them working. Okay, so that happens. All right. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Some of you are having a hard time logging on. If the internet isn't working, for whatever different reason, and it's not your fault, whatever, we're going to get all those things straight. While you're waiting for your computers to log on, you've got one more problem at the bottom of your notes. Go ahead and work on that one. I'm going to give you more time tomorrow to work on your Chromebooks, on your assignments, so if you didn't get to it today for whatever reason, no big deal, right? You'll have more time to practice. If you finish that one, there are some more up here for you to do instead, and write them down in your notes. This is a good one for you to practice. Put that one down in your notes too. It's just how it goes. Sometimes we've got to be flexible. If the internet's not working, it's not a big deal. We'll work around it, okay? It's yeah. And then 4 0. If you're stuck, and I need to fill these out too for you, right? Okay. Do you need a pen? Let me get you a pen and do it that way. 38. Okay. Go ahead and make sure that you have your stamps out again, or have your planner out so I can stamp you guys. Many of you really did a great job being on task today, and I want to make sure that you're getting those stamps that you need. It's key students. It's AR12 at key students. So have you logged in? Okay, so what did I say that you could do instead? Do you remember? Right, so show me what you know. So we did this one, let's do this one. So you knew to do that, good. If you do it, but what do we have to do first? What are we trying to get to today? We gotta move this variable over. So before you do that, what's something else that you need to do? Draw the river, good. Okay, now we want to move this over there. How do we do that? This is a +1. How do you get rid of a +1? What do you? Okay, so let's subtract that from both sides. So you good? 4? No, it'd be an X. We're moving the variable follow along and do this at the same time. She said she's gonna move this positive x by subtracting it from both sides. So if you do it to this side, what should you do over there? Right.
And then
Okay, so now what's 3x minus x? What, sweetheart? Nope, there's like a 1 right here. So either get a different notebook or use the paper and practice on the paper today. 3 minus 1 gives you what? Perfect. Okay, what else are you gonna bring down? Okay, so go ahead and do that. She said subtract x from both sides, and you did. Now bring down your 2x, write it down. Perfect. Minus 4. Write it down right here so you make a new equation. Minus 4. Minus 4 equals 5. Okay, so now we're gonna do what? Add 4 to both sides, and then go ahead and solve. Good. All right.
No, you must.
Not yet. Go ahead and add this first, because you added it over here, which means you need to add it over here first. Okay? No, this cancels out, so bring down your 2x equals 5 plus 4. Okay, guys, you've done a really good job today. The bell is going to ring in a few minutes, so here's what I need you to do. Listen, wait a minute. Before you get up, make sure that you've logged out of your Chromebooks. If you plug them back in, or if you put them back, please plug them back in. Don't get up yet. The other thing that I need you to do before you leave, when you put your calculator away, please make sure you put your lunch number on. Either you've got this, you need time to practice, or help because you really you had a hard time with it today, okay? Maybe you're tired, maybe it'll make more sense to you tomorrow after being in school for a day, but I need you to do that before you leave, and put your Chromebooks and your calculators back before you leave, okay? You've got about 2 minutes, so finish up, please. All right, go ahead and clean up. Good job, thank you. If you've got a highlighter and you borrowed it from me, please return it.